that they'd respond, and boy, did they ever. Let's take a closer look at this. Temper started to flare here, Brian, early. Watch Benedict Mathurin. He appears to strike DeAndre Hunter in the chest, and then Hunter responds by shoving Mathurin to the ground, and then other players would get involved. And after the shove, Miles Turner, he comes over. He pushes Hunter here. Technicals will be assessed to Hunter and Turner, but Mathurin, flagrant 2, and was ejected.
I can't believe that Hunter did not get the same treatment. This was actually a break for the Cavs.
Well, not much else was a break for the Cavaliers. The Pacers up 18 here. Keep an eye on Obi Toppin, Shanae.
Yeah, you know, this is the thing. When one team is playing with force and has finesse like that, you have a feeling it's going to be your night, especially when you're at home.
That was a great finish from Obi. It reminds me of something else. Let's flash back. 45 years ago yesterday, Game 4 of the NBA Finals, it's Dr. J hitting that iconic up and under.
I see it.
Little reverse against the Lakers. 45 years later.
With all due respect to Obi Toppin.
Guys still pulling
up. Finish the sentence, Wendy. There's levels to this.
Homages. That's a little level to say. Respecting the greats there. Later in the second, Miles Turner hits the 3. Pacers just starting a big scoring run here. Next possession, Tyrese Halliburton. He gets in on the 3-ball action.
I mean, no one's winning the point of attack if you see these plays for the Cavs. Like, it looks like target practice out there.
Right here, Turner connecting on another 3.
The Cavs did not match the physical.
Our guy, Kendrick Perkins, he did not need to be tweeting the way that he was. The Cavaliers' mothers are watching this. He was so out
Some of his best work.
Indiana rolls. Here's Rick Carlisle after the game.
We haven't done anything yet. We're a pretty significant underdog in every game we've played in this series, and that will continue till the end. And we're going to keep approaching this like we have everything to prove. And we know people don't believe in us.
Complete domination by them is really, it's kind of the story, kind of in every facet. It wasn't like, tactics or anything involved. They dominated us in every facet of the game.
So every facet looked something like this. Here's how bad it was for the Cavs in the first half. They trailed by 41, tied for the largest halftime deficit in postseason history. They shot just 25% from the floor and turned it over 14 times. Donovan Mitchell, of course, also didn't play in the second half here, but that seems to be only the beginning of the Cavaliers' struggles. They're going to need him at full force if they want to get back in this.
First off, before we talk about the Cavs, we have to mention how excellent the Pacers have been.
Absolutely.
Yes. They are 41-16 since the new year, okay? That is equivalent to a team that's a 59-win pace team, okay? The Cavs won 64 games. So I know you look at the Cavs and you say, well, they're the number 1 seed, and the Pacers are the number 4 seed, and there's a huge gap between them. Not so much. And then you add the injuries and the fact that the Cavs have just got ice cold from three-point shooting, and the Pacers are playing great. All of a sudden, things get a whole lot different. The Pacers are shooting 42% in this series from 3. The Cavs are shooting 30%. That was a weapon for the Cavs all season long. The Pacers have taken it away from them. The Pacers have played with such incredible force and speed, which has taken them out.
Go ahead, Wendy.
But I will say this. The Donovan situation is probably the most important piece of information the Cavs could have today. He did have an MRI this morning. Shams telling us that he avoided a major injury.
Okay,
we saw him warming up at the start of the second half, and he appeared like he tweaked something in his lower leg. So it is actually good news that Donovan will be considered game time because they are going to need him to be great to have any chance to come back in this series.
This series comes down to rhythm for me. You know, rhythm is not just in music, it's also in hoops with how you play. And these two teams finished the regular season strong. They were in rhythm, but then they lost the Cavs their rhythm because of health and their lack of availability of their star players. And if you look at the converse, the Pacers have just continued, as you mentioned, since January to build and build and build. We saw one of the most chemistry type of induced first half, 25 assists in the first half, most by any team in the playoffs. They finished with 37 assists on 49 field goals. It doesn't matter who's in front of them, whether it's Giannis, whether it's Donovan.
Yeah.
This team is a well-oiled offensive machine. The number one thing, besides Donovan Mitchell, is to figure out ways to disrupt what we're seeing offensively that has been spectacular.
There's a reason that they were in the conference finals last year. I think they were easy maybe to forget about this Indiana Pacers team. Not so much anymore. They have a commanding 3-1 series lead. That was one game yesterday. In the other, One may smile and still be a villain. And SGA, he played the foil to the Nuggets on Sunday. It was a tight turnaround from Friday night's Game 3, and boy, did it show. I don't want to say noon at a LA Fitness, but not too far off Mark Jones, right? Third quarter, Nuggets up 3. Jamal Murray dribbles it up, hits the 3. Feeling good. Denver taking a 6-point lead here. And then a few minutes later, as he's grooving and jamming, Nikola Jokic hits the 3. Denver made 7 threes in the third after only making 3 in the whole first half. Denver up 6 headed into the fourth. But here's SGA. He knows his mindset has to change a little as a star trying to close out the game.
Those are the moments where the guy on the team earns his buck.
And earn his buck, did he ever. Next Thunder possession, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, little fadeaway, Shanae.
Yeah, what I love about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, everyone has great expectations for the presumptive MVP, but he's still going through the process of having to take down his opponents, and you're seeing it in real time. 9 points, I believe, in the fourth.
Yeah, a far cry from what he was in Game 3, where he couldn't hit a field goal in the fourth quarter and overtime. And then on the other side for the Nuggets, their star struggled in this one late. He only had 5 points, 2 of 7 shooting in the final frame. Jokic did tally 43 minutes in this game. Maybe the fatigue is just starting to show a little bit, but OKC, they even up the series here. Here's Jokic on this young Thunder team after the game.
They're physical, they're handsy, they're coming, they're really, they're good with help, and sometimes I just cannot make a shot, so it's a little bit of everything right now.
It's best out of 3. It's not a funeral, guys. It's best out of 3. We lost the game. On to the next.
Cool heads prevailing there for Jamal Murray, but it was another inefficient game for Jokic in this series. After 3 straight poor shooting games, he's shooting 39% for the series. That's on par to be his worst in a series over his career. He's also averaging just under 6 turnovers a game, also on pace to be the most in a series in his career. Usually with the Joker, we're asking why so serious, but I'm asking why is he struggling, Shanae?
You're starting to see the effects of Game 7 versus the Clippers in these last 2 games.
That's what it feels like.
Obviously versus the Thunder. And if you look at these numbers right here, they have played a lot of minutes so far this postseason. So typically you look at who's played the most, you're going to be like, oh, I bet you it's the New York Knicks. No, it's actually the Denver Nuggets.
Hey, there's one Nick.
There is one Nick. There's only one. But Jamal, Jokic, Christian Brown, obviously, you know, Aaron Gordon, they've all played a lot on top of coming into this series with an overtime game as well. And so I think that's why you start seeing Jokic. I watched him at the top of the key. I'm like, oh, that's automatic. It was a miss. And he spoke to those misses. When you're tired, your shot is short. You don't have that explosive nature. Like, it's just things are much more difficult and it's happening rapidly against the youngest team in the NBA that loves to run and gun.
I'm afraid to say, because we were all sitting up here when they were struggling against the Los Angeles Clippers, getting blown out of the water and saying, oh, they just look tired. I don't know if they have any more left. I never put it past Nikola Jokic to find another gear. He's a 3-time MVP for a reason. But you're just not looking at the last 3 games, Brian. You're looking at something else.
Yeah, I'm looking at the last 7. It's 7 games in 13 days. It's a brutal stretch dating back to the absolute battles they were with the Celtics in games 5, 6, and 7. Okay, I just want you to look at that. 40%. He shot 55% or better in the last 3 postseasons. Okay? He's also, his free throw percentage is down 15%. Free throws he's not even making at his normal clip year over year, okay? He already played the most minutes per game he has in his entire career in the regular season. He had a bigger lift this year than he's almost ever had. Now we're seeing the results here. I know that the Nuggets fans were focused on having to play Friday night and Sunday afternoon. No. This is a result of the last 2 weeks that is wearing him out.
Also, Wendy, you talk about the lift, right? He has physically trying to carry his team along because his teammates, his role players, are banged up as well. But it's also the mental lift. Like, we've seen so many plays or possessions where during a timeout, you know, he's here galvanizing his squad, yelling, like trying to be the coach on the floor when they made that change. So it's not just him playing, it's also him leading and coaching his team in real time.
Absolutely, and no rest for the wicked. They're back at it tomorrow. So the wheel keeps on turning. Coming up on NBA Today, other than making threes, what was the key to Boston's victory in Game 3 in Madison Square Garden? That sounds like a job for Chanae and her cheat sheet. Got one ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're rocking and rolling. We go live also to the site of Game 4. What's the likelihood that Ant and his pack of hungry wolves can close out the Dubs before Steph Curry has a chance to come back? Plus, Brian Windhorst, he says it's no coincidence that the Giannis story, we're talking about it on Lottery Day. He'll explain why and how tonight's results will send massive shockwaves across the league. We'll be right back.